They say attraction isn't just about looks, it's about energy, confidence, and the way you carry yourself. But what if I told you that no matter how well dressed you are, no matter how smart or successful you may be, there are things secretly holding you back, things making you less magnetic without you even realizing it? Most people focus on adding more to their lives, more skills, more knowledge, more achievements. But true transformation starts with what you remove. The invisible habits, thoughts, and behaviors that silently push people away, the ones that strip away your confidence, drain your presence, and make you blend into the background instead of standing out. Right now, there are three specific things in your life working against you like a slow poison. They dull your charisma, weaken your influence, and stop people from being drawn to you. The good news? Once you recognize them and cut them out, everything changes. You'll command attention effortlessly. You'll leave an impact without even trying. And the best part? You won't have to chase opportunities. They'll start coming to you. Stay with me till the end, because today you're going to uncover the three things you must delete from your life to become absolutely irresistible. It's easy to spot someone who lacks confidence. Their voice wavers, their posture shrinks, and their energy feels uncertain. But what most people don't realize is that this insecurity doesn't start on the outside. It begins in the mind, long before a word is spoken or a step is taken. Negative self-talk is one of the biggest silent killers of confidence. It's that inner voice that whispers, "You're not good enough. You'll fail. No one cares what you have to say." And the worst part, the more it repeats, the more it becomes the truth. A person who constantly criticizes themselves walks into a room already defeated. Even if they say all the right words, their energy tells a different story. Insecurity is felt, not just heard. People can sense it in the hesitation, in the lack of conviction, in the subtle way someone avoids eye contact. This quiet self-sabotage makes it difficult to connect, to lead, to attract the right people. Because if someone doesn't believe in themselves, why should anyone else? The problem with negative self-talk is that it's often automatic. It disguises itself as logic, convincing the mind that it's being realistic, when in reality, it's just being cruel. It rewrites every setback as proof of failure, every flaw as something shameful. And over time, it turns into a cycle. Doubt leads to hesitation, hesitation leads to missed opportunities lead to even more doubt. A downward spiral that becomes harder to escape. Breaking this cycle isn't about pretending problems don't exist. It's about shifting focus. Instead of obsessing over weaknesses, it means deliberately looking at strengths. That voice in the mind, it's not permanent. It's been trained to criticize, but it can be trained to uplift. Every time doubt creeps in, it can be interrupted. Every time it says you're going to mess up, it can be answered with, "I'm capable, I've handled challenges before, I will get through this." Rewriting the inner dialogue doesn't happen overnight, but every small shift adds up. Speaking with confidence starts long before words are spoken. It starts with what's being said when no one else is listening. The way someone talks to themselves in private is the way they carry themselves in public. And the moment that voice becomes stronger, the world takes notice. Conversations are more than just words being exchanged. They are the foundation of relationships, opportunities, and influence. Yet most people don't actually listen. They hear the sounds, they wait for their turn to speak, but they don't fully absorb what's being said. And whether they realize it or not, others can tell. Nothing pushes people away faster than feeling unheard. When someone talks and the other person is distracted, checking their phone, or simply waiting to respond, the connection weakens. It creates an invisible wall, a quiet message that says, "You're not important enough for my full attention." And Once that message is sent, it's difficult to take back. People don't remember every detail of a conversation, but they always remember how they felt during it. Listening isn't just about staying silent while someone speaks. It's about being present. It's about making eye contact, noticing tone, catching the details most overlooked. When someone speaks and the listener truly engages, it changes everything. It builds trust, deepens relationships, and makes the speaker feel valued. And in return, that energy is reciprocated. Because when one person listens, others feel drawn to them. Most conversations fail because they are treated as competitions. One person speaks, the other waits to jump in with their own thoughts, and the cycle repeats. But the most magnetic people know the secret listening is what makes them stand out. Instead of rushing to be heard, they slow down. Instead of interrupting, they ask deeper questions. And instead of thinking about what to say next, they focus on what's being said right now. Active listening isn't difficult, but it does require intention. Small adjustments make a massive difference. Putting the phone away, nodding in acknowledgement, responding with thoughtful questions, these are the habits that transform ordinary conversations into meaningful ones. And when someone starts listening at this level, people notice. They gravitate towards that energy because feeling heard is rare, and those who provide that experience become unforgettable. Words can fill a room, but silence holds the real power. Most people believe communication is about speaking well, crafting the perfect sentence, or knowing what to say. But the truth is, the most compelling people aren't the best talkers, they're the best listeners. They make others feel seen, valued, and understood without saying much at all. One of the biggest mistakes in conversation is treating it like a race. Minds drift, responses are rehearsed before the other person finishes speaking, and instead of fully absorbing what's being said, the focus shifts to delivering the next thought. This habit creates a disconnect. It turns a conversation into a transaction, stripping away the emotional depth that makes interactions meaningful. Nothing strengthens relationships faster than active listening. People don't open up to those who interrupt. They don't feel connected to someone who nods absent-mindedly while scrolling through their phone. But they do notice when someone locks in, makes eye contact, and genuinely engages. A simple shift in presence can transform an average exchange into a moment of real connection. The way someone listens speaks louder than the words they say. Nodding at the right moments, reacting naturally, and responding thoughtfully shows the other person that their words matter. That energy creates a lasting impression. It makes people feel drawn in, like they are the most important person in the room, even if just for a moment. And when someone consistently makes others feel that way, they become magnetic. It's not about being silent or agreeing with everything. It's about giving full attention and making the speaker feel like their words have weight. Conversations aren't just about information, they're about emotion. People share thoughts, but what they're really looking for is connection. Those who provide that, who make others feel heard, instead of just filling space, stand out in ways that words alone never could. People respond to energy before they respond to words. Long before a conversation begins, signals are already being sent through posture, gestures, and expression. The way someone carries themselves speaks louder than anything they could say, and without realizing it, many push others away before a single word leaves their mouth. Closed-off body language creates an invisible barrier. Arms crossed tightly over the chest, avoiding eye contact, slouching with shoulders hunched forward, these subtle cues send a message of discomfort, defensiveness, or disinterest. Even if the words are friendly, the energy contradicts them. People pick up on this instinctively, sensing hesitation, awkwardness, or even hostility. And instead of feeling drawn in, they keep their distance. Confidence isn't just about what's being said, it's about how it's presented. Someone who stands tall, relaxes their shoulders, and holds steady eye contact instantly gives off a different energy. They don't just appear more self assured, they make others feel more comfortable around them. Conversations flow easier, interactions feel natural, and people feel a sense of ease in their presence. It's not about trying to impress, it's about creating a space where connection feels effortless. Small adjustments make a massive difference. Uncrossing the arms signals openness. Leaning in slightly when someone speaks shows interest. A genuine nod or a relaxed, steady gaze tells the other person they are being heard. These simple shifts change the way others perceive someone, making them more approachable, engaging, and magnetic without them having to say a word. Every movement, every expression, every unconscious gesture is shaping the way people respond. Those who understand this don't just speak with words, they speak with presence. And in a world full of distractions, that kind of unspoken confidence is impossible to ignore. Negativity has a way of spreading faster than anything else. A single complaint can shift the entire mood of a conversation, turning something neutral into something draining. People may not realize it, but constant complaining slowly pushes others away, creating an energy that few want to be around. Everyone faces problems, frustrations, and challenges. That's normal. But the way those challenges are talked about makes all the difference. Complaining isn't just about venting, it's about focusing on what's wrong instead of what's possible. It turns small inconveniences into big problems and makes setbacks feel permanent. Over time, this habit rewires the mind to search for negativity, making it harder to see opportunities, solutions, or even simple joys. Beyond that, it affects the people who listen. No one enjoys being around someone who constantly points out flaws, highlights what's missing, or speaks like the world is against them. It's exhausting. Even when the complaints are justified, they create a weight that drags conversations down. Instead of inspiring others, it drains them. Instead of drawing people in, it repels them. And the worst part? Most of the time, the one doing the complaining doesn't even notice. Shifting away from negativity doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means choosing a different focus. Instead of complaining about what went wrong, the attention moves to what can be done. Instead of dwelling on frustrations, effort goes into finding the lesson, the opportunity, or the next step. A mindset like this doesn't just change personal energy, it changes how others react. People feel lighter, more optimistic, more drawn to conversations that bring a sense of possibility rather than weight. Gratitude is one of the simplest but most powerful shifts. The more someone focuses on what's working, the more they find to appreciate. And the more they appreciate, the more others enjoy being around them. Positivity isn't about ignoring reality. It's about creating an energy that people want to be near. And those who master this become unforgettable. Approval feels good, compliments, likes, recognition, they create a rush, a sense of validation that feels almost addictive. But when self-worth depends on the opinions of others, confidence becomes fragile. One negative comment, one moment of disapproval, and everything starts to crumble. People who constantly seek validation shape themselves based on what they think others want. They hold back opinions, adjust their personalities, and hesitate to take risks, all in fear of judgment. Instead of living for themselves, they live for approval. And the irony is, the more they chase it, the more they lose the very thing that makes them stand out: authenticity. It's easy to spot someone who relies on external validation. Their energy shifts depending on how others react to them. They over-explain, seek reassurance, or avoid being different. This makes them blend in rather than stand out. Confidence isn't built on applause or approval, it's built on an unshakable belief in one's own worth. And that kind of confidence is magnetic. True self assurance comes from setting personal standards instead of following the expectations of others. It means defining success in a way that isn't tied to outside opinions. It's the ability to move forward without needing permission, to express thoughts without worrying about acceptance, and to stand alone if necessary. When this shift happens, something incredible takes place. Energy changes. Presence becomes stronger. People stop seeking validation and start attracting respect instead. The most compelling individuals aren't the ones trying to be liked by everyone. They are the ones who know who they are, what they stand for, and what matters to them. They don't shrink themselves to fit in, and they don't need constant reassurance. And because of that, they command attention effortlessly. Failure isn't the enemy. It's not a sign of weakness or a reason to stop trying. Yet, so many avoid it at all costs, playing it safe, staying within their comfort zones, and hesitating when opportunity knocks. The fear of failing is stronger than the desire to grow, and that hesitation is what holds people back the most. Every decision rooted in fear leads to regret. The job that wasn't applied for, the idea that was never shared, the chance that was let go, these moments pile up, shaping a life full of missed opportunities. Playing small might feel safe, but it's also a guarantee that nothing ever changes. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in uncertainty, in the risks that could go wrong, but also have the potential to go right. People who are afraid to fail often come across as hesitant, unsure of themselves, or unwilling to take the lead. This energy is noticeable. It makes interactions feel cautious rather than dynamic. The most magnetic individuals don't avoid failure, they move through it. They take risks, learn from setbacks, and keep going. This resilience creates an aura of strength, making others trust them, respect them, and want to follow their lead. The shift happens when failure is no longer seen as an endpoint, but as part of the process. Every mistake holds a lesson, every setback is temporary, and every challenge is another step forward. The difference between those who stay stuck and those who rise isn't the number of failures, it's how they respond to them. Growth requires movement, and movement requires the willingness to stumble without losing momentum. Confidence isn't built by avoiding failure. It's built by facing it head on, taking risks despite the fear, and refusing to let mistakes define the future. The people who stand out the most aren't the ones who have never failed. They're the ones who refused to let failure stop them. And that makes all the difference. First impressions happen fast. A glance, a gesture, a single sentence, and the mind jumps to conclusions. It sorts people into categories, deciding who they are before truly knowing them. This habit might feel natural, but it builds walls instead of bridges. Judging too quickly shuts down possibilities for connection, for learning, for seeing people as they really are instead of how they first appear. Assumptions create distance. The moment someone is labeled, the mind stops looking deeper. Instead of being curious, it becomes certain. Instead of listening, it waits to confirm its own beliefs. This kind of thinking limits not just relationships, but also personal growth. When people are judged too fast, opportunities to learn from them are lost. Every person carries a unique story, but those stories stay hidden from those who don't take the time to hear them. Negativity spreads easily. A judgmental attitude doesn't just affect the person being judged, it changes the energy of every interaction. It creates an environment where people feel watched, criticized, or misunderstood, and in return, they pull away. No one wants to be around someone who constantly points out flaws, dismisses differences, or assumes the worst. That kind of energy is repelling, making relationships feel strained instead of natural. Empathy shifts everything. Instead of rushing to conclusions, there's space for curiosity. Instead of assuming, there's a willingness to see things from another perspective. Choosing to listen instead of labeling makes interactions deeper, more genuine, and more meaningful. It doesn't mean agreeing with everything or ignoring differences. It simply means staying open long enough to truly see people for who they are. The most magnetic individuals aren't the ones who judge the fastest. They're the ones who give others the space to be themselves. They don't dismiss or categorize too quickly. They allow conversations to unfold, relationships to grow, and perspectives to shift. This openness makes them not only more likable, but also more influential. People trust those who see them without judgment, and trust is the foundation of every strong connection. Words carry weight. They shape reputations, build or break trust, and leave lasting impressions. Yet, many waste their words on conversations that add no real value, whispers about others, speculation about their lives, or criticism spoken behind their backs. Gossip feels harmless in the moment, but the damage it causes lingers far longer than the conversation itself. Trust is fragile. The moment someone realizes that a person who gossips with them could easily gossip about them, the foundation weakens. It creates doubt, making people second guess what's being said when they're not around. No one wants to be the subject of casual chatter, and no one truly respects someone who builds conversations on the flaws or misfortunes of others. Instead of drawing people in, gossip creates distance. Beyond trust, gossip affects energy. Speaking negatively about others brings a certain heaviness. It turns conversations into something small, focused on tearing down instead of lifting up. Those who constantly engage in it often don't notice how it makes them look like someone who thrives on negativity, someone who lacks depth, someone who can't be trusted. Meanwhile, the ones who refuse to engage in gossip stand out. They become the people others feel safe around, the ones who are known for being genuine, reliable, and worthy of respect. There's always a choice in conversation. It's easy to slip into talking about people, but meaningful discussions go beyond that. Ideas, goals, experiences, these are the topics that make conversations richer, that leave people feeling inspired instead of drained. Choosing not to gossip isn't just about avoiding negativity. It's about elevating every interaction. The most magnetic people aren't the ones who know the latest rumors. They're the ones who make others feel valued, protected, and safe in their presence. They don't waste words on empty talk. They use them to connect, to uplift, to bring real value to those around them. And in return, people are drawn to them not out of fear, but out of genuine respect. Energy doesn't lie. Confidence, presence, and authenticity are felt before a single word is spoken. The people who stand out the most aren't necessarily the loudest or the most talented. They are the ones who have removed the things that dull their presence. The hesitation, the negativity, the habits that push others away without them even realizing it. Small changes make a massive impact. Shifting the way you speak to yourself, being fully present in conversations, carrying yourself with openness. These are the things that turn ordinary interactions into something unforgettable. It's not about being perfect. It's about becoming aware of what's holding you back and choosing to let it go. When that happens, confidence becomes effortless, connections become deeper, and opportunities begin to flow naturally. Every interaction leaves an impression. Every habit either strengthens or weakens the energy you bring into a room. The choice is always their hold onto the things that create resistance or let them go and step fully into your own power. If you found value in this, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content that helps you become your most unstoppable self.